Good morning, good morning, good morning. Fingers crossed we are going live. Good morning, welcome to this week's Monday Motivation. And Monday Motivation, where do they even come from and why would you even watch this? Most of us are highly motivated at any given time, but every now and then we might hit a bump in the road, we might come across new circumstances, we might even be going through something which our only point of reference is, oh my gosh, this always goes wrong. And, I had such example last night. Hey, lovely. Thank you for watching. I had an example of this last night when somebody posted in the group that they were having some challenges with a few things that they were trying to do. And that can be really not just frustrating, but really demotivating too. So, Monday Motivations, frog in my throat, my tea's over there. Monday Motivations were created for people just like you and me who want to go on to do really great things in the world, and sometimes you hit a bump in the road. Sometimes you wish something could be easier. And the other deceiving thing about Monday Motivations, they are motivations that are made for you, for your Monday, yes, also for your morning, and sometimes even your week. And I've been told your month too. Some of you will go back to these throughout the week, throughout the day, throughout the month. So thank you for all of you who are watching. So this morning's theme, or today's theme and topic, is about comparison, the stops and the starts of comparison to get us motivated. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes and glancing down because I have got some very specific information to share with you. And, by all means, if you like to take part, do type your comments, questions even. I'm happy to take questions while I'm on live. So comments or questions in the box below. Now, if you're watching this back on the replay, I thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and your busy life to watch this back. Feel free to add your comments and thoughts and insights too. So, if you have ever admired something, someone, a lifestyle, the way they are from afar, and really got into their lifestyle and really followed the work that they did, and found yourself thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I was more this, or I wish I could do that, then this may just be the episode for you or friends of yours who I would love you to share this with afterwards if you feel to share. So, comparison for motivation. What I want to do in this week's episode is show you your own ways in which you can compare so that you don't feel demotivated, but you actually are spurred on to do this. So, I'm going to do this through a series of stops and starts, hence the banner at the top of this page. So, what's the first thing to stop doing? Well, when you want to create your own self-motivation, even if you are experiencing some form of struggle or confusion or frustration at the moment, the first thing that I would highly recommend you do, is to stop looking for who you are in others. Now, what does that even mean? I had a conversation quite recently with somebody. We were having a meeting and they said, I wish I was so articulate, so much more articulate, just like you are. And you know what? It's okay having a wish and a dream for yourself. But if you have that wish and you're saying you're wishing you're more like something else, somebody else, what that actually brings up kind of like subconsciously for you is that you wish that you were grabbing or reaching for something outside of yourself. What it actually does is it negates the power of what you already have, the gold of what you already have, if you like. And there's a very popular expression in the personal development, spiritual development industry where people say, give away your power. And what that does is it means that you negate any great stuff you had about yourself and you shine the light on somebody else. So you're saying, in essence, they're really great, what they do is perfect or cool or brilliant, and what I do is rubbish. So I want you to stop doing that. So stop looking for who you are in other people. And if you don't know whether you're doing it, because one of the comments that I get a lot from these videos is, oh my gosh, didn't even realise until you said it and then it resonated and I thought, yes, that's me. So if you find yourself ever saying, oh, I wish I was more like, could be somebody on TV, It could be somebody you know, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a sibling, it could be a child, it could be a parent. If you find yourself saying, I wish I was more like so-and-so, then it's likely that you're looking for an element of something outside of you while you're dismissing the great stuff that you've already got within. Now, once you've stopped doing that, what can you start doing instead? So once you've stopped doing that, if you get to know yourself really, really, really well, do more of that. Now, it's funny that Ivona is watching live, because Ivona is a relationship coach that helps you get relationship ready. And I know that Ivona knows this stuff like the back of her hand. When you get to know yourself well and who you are, you can show up really, really differently in the world. You can show up more confidently, you can show up with more of a spring in your step, and you can show up as the person that you want to be. So let me give you a kind of a silly story of this. Now, it's 7:30, and up until 3.5 years ago, these were at 7 a.m. UK time. I would get up, I would sometimes scrape my hair back, sometimes not. I've scraped my hair back today, so you didn't get a big bushy bouffant here. But one of the things that people often say to me is, oh, you seem so relaxed on camera, and you do video, and you just, you don't seem to be using a script, or you're doing this thing or that thing. And most of that is true. Much of that is true. I am relaxed on camera now, and here's why. When I started doing this, you can go back and look at my YouTube channel from some of the early days. It was very robotic, very stoic. I wasn't comfortable on camera. There was a time, excuse me, when I wasn't even comfortable public speaking. If that had happened in the middle of a talk, I would have freaked out. If I had forgotten what I was going to say, I would have freaked out. In fact, a lot of the time, I would have forgotten what I was going to say because I was so nervous. But the point that I want to share here is that after literally doing making thousands of videos and thousands of Facebook lives, presenting to people within sometimes even the Facebook groups on Facebook, being out there on social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, and having done hundreds and hundreds now of public talks, you get into your groove, you find your groove. I didn't always start as being articulate. I didn't always know what to say or how to say it. I didn't always know how to read the audience. I didn't always know how to engage or connect with the audience. So I didn't even always know that when I spoke, that there's a form of listening that comes back as well. It's not always that visible on camera. So people will often stop themselves by looking for what they see of my outsides and not knowing what goes on underneath the surface. Now, what goes on underneath the surface for me might be the same or similar to you, or might be totally different. Okay, and that's why it's important to get to know yourself. So all my quirks, all my Jennyisms. In fact, I had a client once who, after I taught an online masterclass, sent me all my Jennyisms, and they were quite hilarious. I didn't set out or intend to share those, but that was just an example of just by being comfortable in my own skin and knowing myself well, it gets any awkwardness out of the way and gets people out there. Ivona says she likes that find your groove. That's music to my ears. Reminds me of, there's lots of grooves, there's lots of songs that you can resonate, and this is like an extra tip. I didn't plan to share this, but if you want to find your own groove, think one of the easiest shortcuts to it is music. If there's a particular song or music that will remind you to be more of who you are and to find your groove, then listen to it. And it will really kind of get you in the groove to be in the groove. Anyway, so first stop and start is stop looking for who you are outside of yourself and in other people, and start looking within, start getting to know yourself more. And you can start this at any time, even if you've never done it before, even if you have worked with somebody before or worked with yourself before, read a book on it, you can always go deeper. I still do now. I never stop this. Okay, so another way of comparison for motivation, the next thing that I would recommend is that stop tolerating stuff. What do I mean by that? There are things in life that we put up with, and for many of us, we can obviously think of something that we put up with. It could be something as simple as, oh, I feel a bit cold. When summer coming, well, if you feel a bit cold, stop tolerating the fact that you feel cold now. Either switch your heating on or put another layer on and get yourself warm, get yourself to where you want to be. But I've, in the past spoken to like business owners who have tolerated lower sales than they would like. I've spoken to people that have been tolerating the fact that they want to get their work out in front of lots of people in the world, yet they kind of sit behind the scenes or go at a more slower pace than they want to, because they know that going at a faster pace might get them the exposure they want. I've known of people who have tolerated a certain income level. I've heard of businesses that have tolerated having employees that really don't add any value to the organisation. Conversely, I've seen people who have been, within an organisation, not wanting to appear too pushy or too out there or too in their face, when they know that they can do a lot for a company. It could be their business or someone else's business, and they acquiesce and they just stay at what they feel is their set level. So whatever it is you're tolerating, stop it right now. And a really good exercise would be to write down some of the things that you're tolerating. Don't try and tackle them all at once. It's like trying to eat an all-you-can-eat buffet in 5 minutes. But do have a note of them. And whichever one seems to like call you the most, the one that looks like it's the thing that's going to make the biggest difference, or you find yourself saying, over and over again, or maybe it just doesn't make you feel good, you might write down a list of them. And while you look through all of them and think, yes, they're all tolerations, you might look at one and actually shudder and think, no, whatever that is, stop that. And here's what you do. You start getting really crystal clear on what it is you want. If you want to grow your business, and I hear so many people, a lot of women say this more than men, want to grow their business in a certain way, certain level. It might be numbers in their audience, it might be number of clients, it might be financial goals or monetary income. It could be how they want to be perceived and seen. And what they do is they say, this is what I want, and then they don't even do the work to uncover what that is for them. So the first thing to do is to get crystal clear clarity. Can't get any clearer than crystal clear clarity, can you now? Gosh, I managed to say that without fumbling. That was a lot of clars in the morning. But my point is, when you can get crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want specifically, you can start to see it. Even though it hasn't happened yet, you can start to see it, and that becomes your true north of where you guide yourself to get what it is that you want or you need. So stop tolerating things and start getting clear. So what I said at the beginning, stop looking for who you are in others and start getting to know who you are. And then the second one was stop tolerating stuff and start getting crystal clear. And when you get crystal clear and you've seen that vision, be unapologetic. This means that if your family don't get your dreams, you don't even need to share it with them. The dream has been given to you because it's you that has dreamt it, not anybody else, not even me. So get really, really unapologetic and do whatever it takes to get to what you need. And sometimes that means a little bit of extra effort or work. Sometimes it means more action that you might normally take. Sometimes it means actually chilling down and thinking, okay, what's important? It could be focus, it could be many things. And get really clear, get really unapologetic. I've got one more stop-start that I'm going to share. In fact, no, I've got a couple more stop-starts I'm going to share with you. But while I remember, if you are navigating your way through, your own comparisonitis, and you're finding that sometimes it has the ability to stop you, and some of these following ones I know will really resonate with you as it did with me, even though I was writing this. If you need help on that, I did put a post down, and for any of you that are on my email list, you would have got something through as well. I put a post down on this page. Any of you that are on my emailing list or part of my lovely Vibers, you actually get some really good pricing too. But if you would like to spend just 4 weeks on getting the magic in your own message, so that you aren't comparing yourself to other people, so that you are crystal clear, so that people pick up what you're putting down even more clearly than you imagined or dreamt it, then do send me a message to this page. I do have a couple more spaces on Bite Size, only a couple more, where we can work together very, very closely, and I can coach and mentor you through this so that you really get what it is that you want. It's still the beginning of the year, so if you want to kind of take big leaps to do that, I've already had some really juicy conversations with people who have expressed an interest in doing that, and some of them, for them, are quite big projects, and for others it's just a case of having somebody to soundboard, bounce your ideas off, and help to give you steer by listening to what you're actually saying, what you're needing. So that's you. Just click the button at the top there, send a message and just say that you'd like to arrange a call, and I will send you the link to do that. We'll schedule a time at the top of this page, and I'll let you know whether we can meet then, and we'll come to a great agreement. Anyway, back to the stop starts. Okay, so one of the things that I hear people say a lot about social media is that social media can get a bad rap. People will often say things like, oh, what you see on social media isn't real, da 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 da. If you find that you're scrolling, any form of social media only serves to make you feel bad about yourself, then there's a couple of things that you actually might need to look at. You might not need to stop the scroll, but you might need to stop scrolling certain places, looking at certain things. So if you're feeling bad about yourself, if you scroll and feel great about yourself, then that's good. But if you're scrolling and not feeling great about yourselves afterwards, and that's something that definitely I would look at changing. So stop scrolling if you're feeling bad about yourself. But here's what you can do instead. You can start actively looking for the sorts of people that light you up, that fill you, and really energize you, feed you, like whether it's brain food, heart food, or anything else. And then start putting out the kind of stuff that you want to see or you want to be. We all contribute. I mean, here on Facebook alone, there's 2.5 billion active users, and that's just the active users. 2.5 billion active users. So if what we see on social media, if we are only putting out, or only consuming and scrolling stuff that doesn't make us feel great about ourselves, but not actually putting anything else out there, then it will affect our thoughts on what we think social media is for, what it's about, and it will have a negative effect on us. Imagine this, that every time you go on social media, you're feeding the people around you with something really juicy, really great, and to boot, you're then being fed because you're now starting to see it back. Me and my cousin, we have this Facebook thing where we see these really heartwarming videos and we share a lot of stuff. We share a lot of stuff, and sometimes it kind of moves us to tears, and we laugh about it. It'll either make us laugh or make us cry, but either way it will move us to tears. And by doing that, I have to say, I see a lot of really, really great stuff on my Facebook feed. So put out the kind of stuff that you want to see and be. Now, I had very personal experience of this recently. There was a debate that happened on the TV, and it made me rage. And it wasn't this social media platform, but on another social media platform, I decided to, very publicly voice what I thought of this particular TV presenter. Not the most positive move, and I stand by my words. They're a pretty vile character. However, the difference of posting how vile and how horrible someone was, and how they're embarrassment to other people that do the sort of similar things, and do good, and this person, in my opinion, doesn't do so good. It was just like, yeah, it's my voice, and I'm not going to shut down my voice. But you know what? Perhaps if I could have shared something and said, this person is somebody to emulate, this is how they articulate, this is how they treat people, this is how they show up in the world, has a much nicer, lighter, better feeling than spouting the thing that I was spouting. So, if the scrolling makes you feel bad about yourself, stop doing that and start putting out the kind of stuff that you actually do want to see. Next stop start. I once worked for a company, and their motto was some lead, others follow, which was a really great and succinct way of an ethos, part of the ethos to the company. So the stop start here is very quick and easy. Stop following other people's, ways of living, and start leading by example. if you're finding that you're not getting enough sleep, I was reading, somebody recently said they weren't getting very good quality of sleep, so they were looking at getting up a lot earlier, starting their day earlier, putting in all of these like newfangled things they could do. And the biggest consensus was, why don't you just go to bed earlier and at the same time get yourself into routine, get yourself into a pattern, because then you won't need to get up at silly o'clock to try and make up for the stuff that you could have done the day before. It's exhausting, you'll burn out. So some lead, others follow. Always remember that. So stop following, stop following and start leading the way into your own life as to what you would like to do. Far more motivating. And the last one, and just as I go into the last one, I'd love to hear out of these stop-starts, which ones resonated most with you? Which do you, which do you think, that's something that I do, I'm going to do more of, or this is something new, I'm going to try that out. What will you do with this? How will you take this further? What will you do with your next steps? And for those of you who are in the Visibility Vibes Tribe Facebook group, the Monday Motivation post will be posted in, I think, about 6 minutes. So it should go up in the group there, and feel free. I did this last week and not many of you joined me. I was a bit concerned. Are you busy, or were you not motivated? Did you not see it? But what I like to do is for you to have some thoughts about how you're going to motivate yourself for the week, what you're going to commit to. Pop it in the post below. And then on Wednesday, we had a bit of a check-in. I was on track. And then Friday, you start to celebrate some of those wins of the things that you managed to move through. And you know what? If you didn't, you're not going to beat yourself up about it. You're just going to look at what you might do differently next time. So do share with us in the group. Do share in the comments below here if you'd like to. Remembering that here is a public page, so if you like a bit more privacy, then do go into the group where only the other Vibers can see what you've posted. So finally, the last stop-start, and I'm so sorry for the frog in my throat, the last stop-start, stop the admiration if it stops you from getting the help you need to move forward. Now, what does that even mean? Quite often, I've had people that even on this page will say, oh my gosh, I really love what you do. I'm going to work with you one day. And that's cool. That's something that they've put in their plan. However, if you are at the stage of admiration but not doing anything more about it, then that's fine. But you are in the stage of just adoring something, just liking the look of it. You're not necessarily in the phase or the stage of taking it forward, doing more. So stop the admiration if it stops you from getting the help to move forward, and start taking the action steps that you require to move forward. So I'm a big fan of the webinars, I'm a big fan of YouTube, I'm a massive fan of free resources, but there comes a point where when I need to get something done, especially if I haven't done it before, haven't done it consistently, haven't done it in a way that's filled me with joy, I will then work with somebody. And that's the whole premise of a coach, which I know many of you who watch these are coaches. I know lots of you that watch these back are coaches, but I also know there's a big kind of viewership, if you like, of you who aren't coaches, those of you that go into work every day, those of you that go into your business every day, those of you that do look to other people to lead by example, but unwittingly get stuck in the adoration. I know this because when I get to work with you, we have these conversations and we get to work closely together, and the conversations normally start off with, so what do you recommend that I say? And when somebody asks me that question, I love it. It's a great question, and I've always got 101 things in response to that. It shows me where you are within the thinking of the thing that you want to do, and it actually gives me clarity to help you out. It's the reason why, and I've started sharing these more client testimonials. It's the reason why I've noticed as I've read through, there's like hundreds of them. I've been sending them over to get them put into graphics. One of the things that I've noticed that people put in their work is breakthroughs. And to me, a breakthrough is where you think of something differently. You think of something that you might not have thought about in a way you might not have thought about before. So if admiration or adoration is stopping you from doing the things that you want to do, what you might want to do is stop the adoration and start taking some actions or some steps that you require to move forward. One of the things that and I spent quite a while doing this. I spent nearly 7 months doing this. I was already working with 2 coaches, and there was a piece, and I needed to work with a coach to kind of pull me out of my own thinking to help me on this 3rd piece. And I spent a few months doing this, but I was very specific on what it was, or where it was that I wanted to go. How they work with me and stuff is not my area of expertise. But where it was I wanted to go, what it was I wanted to achieve, and then to really start looking around for that person. And I found them. Okay, so it's not always a quick thing, but the action steps that I took were steps to get me closer to that. So what did you get from this? What insights have you received? Which of these stop-starts do you think that you will go forward? If you're like, oh my gosh, there are quite a few of them there, I need to go back and write them down. Save this video, click for notifications, and when I go live, you'll get notified. I was playing with this over the weekend and realised now every time I go onto my Facebook feed, my page, amongst some others, is one of the first ones that comes up. Very strange seeing your own page on your own feed, but there you go. It means that you don't have to fumble around, you don't have to waste any time, you can go straight back, listen to various bits, and I am wishing you the most beautiful Monday, the most motivational Monday, the most motivational morning, and I'd love to hear what you do with these stop-starts and how they flavour your week. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love to you all, and can't wait to see what you share. Bye for now.